Chewing gum is one of those simple joys in life, a chewy, sweet, and flavorful treat that's been a favorite for generations. Whether you're blowing bubbles, chewing absentmindedly while working, or popping a piece in your mouth for a burst of fruity freshness, chewing gum is everywhere. But have you ever stopped to wonder how it's actually made? What goes into creating that stretchy, chewy texture and those bold flavors? Let's take a journey inside the factory and uncover the fascinating process of how chewing gum is made. Before we move on to the step-by-step guide, let's address the ingredients first. You might think that chewing gum contains only sugar with flavors, but there is more than just that. The chewing texture, blowing bubbles, and everlasting taste comes as a result of a careful blend of some essential elements. At the core of the chewing gum lies the base. It is what gives the chew and the stretch. In the past, the base of gum came from charcoal, a tree sap used in early chewing gums, which later turned into modern chewing gums. However, nowadays chewing gum uses a synthetic blend of rubber, wax, and resin, which helps form the soft elastic texture that stays chewable for hours, while blowing bubbles without the gum disintegrating. The base of the gum is undoubtedly the most important part because it tells if the bubble will be soft or tough, too hard, and it won't be pleasant to chew on, too soft, and it would be a sticky disaster. Therefore, manufacturers try their best to strike a balance of rubbery and waxy elements to achieve the right feel. Truth be told, the delight of chewing gum would be greatly stripped without the sweet kick it comes with. That is the role of sugar. Traditional chewing gum contains around 40% sugar. It is the ingredient responsible for the gratifying jolt of sweetness that is experienced once you chew. Not all gum is made with sugar. Substitutes such as xylitol and aspartame are preferred by some brands, particularly in sugar-free gums. These sugar alternatives are best for those people who don't want to think about cavities or calories. But whether natural or artificial, it is the sweetening constituents that makes gum chewing globally addictive. Sugar on its own will never make the texture of chewing gum right. There needs to be something that gives it structure, and corn syrup does precisely that. It also acts as a glue, holding the sugar and gum base mixture in place. Aside from that, it is equally important in retaining the moisture of the gum to keep it soft and pliable. An additional advantage of corn syrup is that it brings a touch of stickiness to gum without making it overly gooey. This is important because if gum were too dry, it would crumble when chewed, and if it were too sticky, well, you'd end up with a mess on your hands, or worse, stuck to your teeth. The most enjoyable aspect of the chewing experience is certainly chewing gum's plentitude of flavors. There truly is something for everyone's taste, whether they prefer the timeless pink, bubblegum, watermelon, grape, or even extravagant flavors such as cotton candy. These flavors, which are now synonymous with gum, can be found as either natural extracts such as real fruit juices or chemical imitations, which are designed to taste like different fruits or sweet treats. Flavoring selection is very important during the manufacturing process as it guarantees the flavor lasts the longest possible. You might have noticed that gum tastes the strongest in the initial few minutes of chewing and then gradually diminishing, which is correct. The flavor gets released from the gum through chewing, and after the sugar and flavoring dissolve, what's left is just the base of the gum. Certain types of gum utilize special coatings or layered flavor technologies to enhance the retention of the taste for a more prolonged period. After learning what ingredients are used to make chewing gum, let's focus on the process of its creation within the factory. Once all the stuff is gathered, it's time to turn it into that soft, stretchy gum we all love. This part happens in giant factory machines that mix, heat, and squish everything together. First up, they soften the gum base. Since it starts out rock hard, they melt it into a gooey liquid by heating it in massive stainless steel mixing tanks. The heat makes it easier to blend with the other ingredients. They've got to keep the temperature just right. Too hot ruins the texture, and too cold won't melt it properly. The sweet spot? Soft enough to mix smoothly with the sugar and corn syrup. Once the base is melted, they dump in sugar and corn syrup. That's when things get sticky and sweet. The sugar adds the sweetness, while the corn syrup keeps the gum soft and flexible. As everything mixes, it turns into a thick, stretchy dough, and this can take anywhere from 20 minutes to hours, depending on the type of gum. The longer they mix, the smoother and more even the gum turns out. Next comes kneading. Like kneading bread dough, gum gets stretched and folded over and over. Big machines do this job, pulling and pushing the gum to get the perfect consistency. Kneading decides whether the gum will be soft or firm. If they don't knead enough, the gum's stiff and snaps easily. Too much kneading, it becomes a sticky disaster. Getting it just right is what makes good gum. Before moving on, workers test the gum by hand. They take little bits, chew them, and check the stretchiness, texture, and how the flavor comes out. If it's not perfect, they tweak the kneading until it is. Once it passes the test, it's ready for flavors, colors, shaping, and wrapping. Without flavor and color, it's just a bland, chewy blob. This step is where it becomes the sweet, colorful stuff we recognize. Adding flavor isn't just tossing in some extract. It has to mix perfectly so every bite tastes the same. Uneven mixing means some bits are too strong, others taste like nothing. Flavors come as liquids, like strawberry or grape, or powders for fancy gums that change taste as you chew. Liquid flavors use natural or artificial extracts. They pour these into the warm gum and mix it slow, bi-weekly in giant machines. Since gum doesn't dissolve, the flavor needs to be strong enough to last. Some companies even add layers of flavor so it sticks around longer. Now the gum tastes good, but looks boring. Enter food coloring. Bright colors make it fun. Classic pink for bubble gum, neon blue for raspberry. They add dyes and keep mixing until the color's totally even. Patchy gum? No thanks. The giant blob of gum then gets turned into bite-sized pieces. First, they roll it out. The gum gets pressed through huge metal rollers to flatten it into sheets. Thickness depends on the brand. Thick chunks or thin strips like gum tape. The machines adjust carefully. Too thick makes it hard to chew, too thin ruins the stretch. Next, cutting machines slice the sheets into pieces. Brands pick shapes, little rectangles, balls or folded ribbons. Everything's got to be the same size, so each piece chews the same. Gum meant for big bubbles is thicker and stretchier to trap air. Some brands even stamp logos or fun designs onto the gum with special machines. It's a tiny detail, but it makes the gum look cool and helps you remember the brand. Once the gum is fully formed, it must go through final steps and put in the appropriate packaging. This step should be performed with caution, as it keeps the product protected from dehydration and extends the product's shelf life. To wrap gum pieces, several strands of wax paper will be pulled out by a machine, and gum pieces will be fixed within them. Gum sticks will not become messy nor lose their taste because of the wrapping. The wrapping adds another layer of protection to the gum, preventing it from becoming hard and brittle. Machines used in these processes can wrap hundreds of pieces within a minute. The wrappers are made easy to open without handling the gum. Companies that wish to embrace vintage remembrance of their brand sometimes use classic twist wrappers, where one end of the wrapper is twisted to reseal it. Gum sold in jars, bags, or blister packs don't require the same procedures as the others. They do not wrap each single piece of gum, as it is poured directly into airtight sealable containers. This is common for packs sold in large quantities. There are many types of chewing gum available on the market, but some are packaged in more appealing or eye-catching designs than others. For example, chewing gum tape comes in a circular plastic container which resembles a small tape dispenser, while other gums are packaged in collectible tins geared towards kids. Before being sold in stores, every piece of chewing gum goes through an elaborate quality control process that evaluates how it looks, tastes, and feels. No one wants to purchase a pack of gum that they anticipate being flavorful and soft, only to discover multiple pieces that are dry and too firm to chew. Factories know that consumers do not appreciate receiving bland gum and wasteful products. This is why quality control is essential. The most significant quality of a chewing gum is its texture. It must have the correct gentleness and richness so it can be chewed easily and burst out into a perfectly shaped bubble within seconds. Employees of the factory need to collect samples from each batch. After collecting samples, they chew it to evaluate how stretchy yet firm the gum is. If it's too hard, there is a chance it requires more moisture. However, overly soft and sticky gums indicate an adjustment to the ingredients. With so much packaging being used, gum manufacturers are becoming more aware of their environmental impact. Many companies are now focusing on reducing waste and using sustainable materials. Some brands are switching to biodegradable wrappers, while others are using recycled plastic for containers. Even the gum itself is being improved. Traditionally, many gum bases contain synthetic ingredients that don't break down easily in nature. But now, companies are developing natural gum bases made from tree sap and other organic materials, making gum more eco-friendly. These changes help reduce pollution while still delivering the same great taste and chewiness. Next time you unwrap a piece of chewing gum, take a second to appreciate the journey it took to get to you. It's more than just a sweet treat. It's a product of innovation, craftsmanship, and a commitment to quality. So chew away, blow a bubble, and enjoy the fun that comes with every bite. What do you think about this? Let us know in the comments section below, and make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.